All right, this is that limited edition O2 hand-wired Vox, and I've made a couple of more changes with the owner's permission. He changed his mind based on thinking about the amps he has, and remember, he's got a TBX that I totally redid for him, and he's got a 65 that I restored for him, but neither one has a master volume. And he was thinking how nice it would be to have one, just the top boost channel with vibrato and tremolo that sounds pretty close to the real deal, that had a master volume that he could gig with. And so he asked me to make this as much like the JMI as possible while retaining the reverb and trim. So I have decreased the filtering quite a bit. It's still not to JMI specs fully. Dual 16 for the reservoir and screen node, 10 for the preamp node, then 16 and 16 for the tremolo and top boost circuit. Top boost would have been 32 in a real one. Tremolo doesn't exist in a real one. There's not a huge difference. You can use a 10 microfarad on the top boost. It sounds just fine. 16 is absolutely fine. They used a 32 or 33 originally just because they already had one in stock that they were using for their vibe trim channel. So that's what they stuck in the amp. It's not really designed so much as we already got this part, it'll work. And then for the phase inverter and reverb, I have a dual 32. Again, the phase inverter in the real ones would have been 10 versus 32. It doesn't make that much of a difference. The crucial thing is that the preamp has low filtering, and that the entire thing has what I call at least, a tree branch ground filtering scheme rather than a ladder. So every individual filter node here is derived directly through one resistor from the screen, as opposed to this going to this, going to this, going to this, going to this. And so you have a lot less filtering overall. The other thing I did, let me have a sip of my drink, was to say the way they did the reverb was stupid. It both caused extra noise and reduced the gain available from the top boost channel, because it was mixing the reverb and top boost before the input to this side of the phase inverter, when this side of the phase inverter was at ground. So I redid this to use this side of the phase inverter just for the reverb return. So the output of the top boost wiper goes to the standard 220K mixer like you have in the JMIs, going to this side of the phase inverter, and the wiper of the volume pot, the reverb pot, goes to this side, and it doesn't matter that these are out of phase with each other. It's just the wet reverb signal that you get back. And at this point, the amp still has very low hum. All the hum and buzz that was there from that power transformer is gone. It doesn't tickle my fancy yet. It does not hang with his TBX, let alone with his 65. So I'm going to go into the other room, hook this up to the cab, and before I make any other changes, I'm going to make sure that we just don't have a weak 12AX7 here or there, and see, let everyone hear what I'm talking about. Right now it sounds quite good, but it doesn't sound magical, and I won't stand for that. Okay, we're going to power this up, and I'll try not to squeak too much in this noisy old drum throne. Need to get a new one. Rockin' socks are great, but after 25 years, I begin to get the squeaks. Anyway, we're going to power this on. Amp's not in standby. It's not necessary on this amp unless you need to change a tube, which we probably will be doing here, but unlike other AC30s from the same era, where the standby light doesn't come on until the rectifier tube is warmed up, it just comes on, and that's fine. There's a little bit of hum there that's going to decrease as the power tubes warm up and start drawing more equal amounts of current. This is not a fully matched quad in there. So with even better tubes, the hum will be even less. But that is more than acceptable now. So, boy, that tone stack's at crazy settings. Now, one of the things that bugs me about this amp is that the pots on the inside are at angles, but they have D shafts. So they're not exactly all exactly aligned. So you just kind of got to learn this individual amp. I got the master on 10, the reverb off, trim and the tremolo off. And I did change the way the bass pot is wired to be the JMI circuit. The amp just isn't getting as bright as it should. It just doesn't have any liveliness. We should also be getting some breakup there, even with a Strat. It's there, but it's not where it ought to be on the o'clock position. I don't know at this point whether it's the pot taper or tubes, but the whole thing just sounds kind of dull. I've got the cut all the way off, so this should be bright as hell. So before I dive in and start changing things, I'm going to swap out some tubes and see if we make any progress there. So I'm going to put it in standby and change out V1 for a Muller 12AX7. Well, it's definitely got more gain. Let's swap a few more out. We'll do the phase inverter next. That's progress, but it's not quite there. We're going to try a different tube in V2. 3 and 4 are only used for the reverb circuit in this amp, so we're going to focus on V1, V2, and V5. So V2, the second half of it is used as a cathode follower, which means it has relatively high voltages there. And I'm not going to put a Mullard or any other Russian tube there because they like to fail. Dramatic increases in gain over where we started. The remaining issue is that the airiness is still not there. This should be bright as hell with the tone cut off like that. I mean, it's bright, but it's like it's getting cut off above a certain point. And I'm not nuts about the taper on the treble and bass controls. Taper of the pot taper, makes such a huge difference in how an amp is used. And just the experience. So is there a wide sweet spot, or is this like, you just got to get it just right and can't move it past that? You know, I would say this is a subpar set of pot tapers. The core sound is there. That sense of 3D and air is not there. And these are terrible terms. These are not technical terms. I can't set my scope to measure air or 3D, but I'm not just a tech, I'm a player, and I have a certain affinity for this circuit, the AC30, in its true form. Let me show you a few other things. I'm not going to talk about all the things it could be in terms of the air. I'm going to talk to the owner and make some changes, and then I'll show you the solution and maybe play a little bit of this video in the next one for a comparison. But let's check out the reverb now that the rest of the circuit's more to JMI spec. There's a lot more depth available on the reverb. It goes deeper, certainly quieter than it was. This is a medium decay 2-spring tank, and it's pretty apparent. If this were my circuit to design, I would have made this dwell rather than tone. Tone's not that useful. To be able to fine-tune it with a dwell might have been nice. That what is a trade-off you often get with an output cathode bias trim. When we get 4 matched EL84s in there, perfectly matched, that will be much less of an issue. I want to check one more thing while I've got the thing set up. Some of that hum is just because where the tank physically is close to the transformers. Yeah, I'm just not getting the right overtone series yet. I mean, the gain has been fixed with those resistors. Just, there's something keeping this amp from being alive, and we will track that down and bring it to life.